Alright YouTube, so for this vlog I had the pleasure of seeing the second Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, in theaters, as the theater I go to is re-releasing all the Harry Potter movies, which is exciting and fun. And I remember another theater was doing the same thing last winter, and I saw some, and hopefully I'll be able to catch each one and rewatch each one to pick up from where I last left off, because this is one I had missed, but it's a separate story. So let's dive into the movie review. But before I do, something I do want to say and touch base on about the HBO Harry Potter series is I've heard it's going to be 8 episodes long. I don't know how long each episode will be, but I have heard it's going to be a little more realistic. I'm not too sure what that means, because Harry Potter is, well, Harry Potter, a fantasy wizarding world, so I don't know if it's going to be like realistic, but I think they mean probably in terms of some of the characters will probably tie in more, and maybe they'll focus on sort of the realistic elements of Harry Potter, so in which case I think that would be cool. But if they're trying to do super realistic Harry Potter, which I doubt they are anyways, wouldn't really make much sense in my opinion. But one thing I definitely want to see, that after watching Chamber of Secrets, is I want to see a little more of the basilisk from this movie incorporated into the HBO series, because something specific I want to see, maybe niche, but I want to see exactly how the basilisk attacked each of the victims that it petrified with its eyes, although it, like in the movie says, they don't directly see it in its eyes, they see it through mirror, water, a ghost. I'll protect each of the victims from dying, because the basilisk has dangerous eyes that kill whatever it lays eyes on. And the kids are still young. Harry, Hermione, Ron, they're all really cool characters, especially in this movie. And I really like the villain who comes into the movie, Tom Riddle, who we later learn is a memory and reminiscence of Lord Voldemort, and he's very devilishly handsome, they'll say, which I can see. I'll say a niche for me in this movie is that some of the soundtrack is almost identical to some soundtracks in Attack of the Clones, because both these movies were made by the same composer and at the same year, which I will say, although I did honestly like Attack of the Clones, although a lot of people don't, I honestly like Chamber of Secrets a lot more, even though I kind of like Star Wars series more than Harry Potter series. And the final battle is so epic with the basilisk snake, which I talked about at the start of this vlog. But to rewind, there's a scene with lots of spiders, which if you are afraid of spiders, this will give you a living nightmare, as it did to Ron Weasley, who's terrified of spiders. And I like the car scene where the car comes back, and the car pretty much saves the day for Ron and Harry, because had that car not shown up, they would have been spider food. And, there are a lot of cool scenes, like the origin of the Salazar Slytherin, who created the Chamber of Secrets because of his beliefs of the school being more, or supposed to, or should in his belief, be more selective of its students, caused him to create this monster. And he abandoned the school, or I don't know if he abandoned, but he left it because he didn't work well with Harmony. I'm curious to see how this would correlate well in the HBO series, although I do hope they focus on the main characters, the main three rather, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, because I want to see more of them. And I do like the cast of the new Harry Potter movie so far. I think it's really cool. I mean, new series. It's cool. From the beginning we see Harry with his bad relatives that hate him, and Dobby the house elf, how could I forget, such a lovable but very sad character, as he's a house elf, which is pretty much the wizard slave of the Malfoys. And he doesn't want Harry going back to school because he knows about the plot, which we later realize who planted the book, that Ginny, who's Ron's sister, got, and she was the one who opened the Chamber of Secrets because of, yeah, there's a lot to explain. So one last thing I'll mention on this movie is I absolutely love the movie, but one thing I'm hoping to see from the HBO series to tie in with Chamber of Secrets is to see sort of a flashback scene of the 4 founding wizards of Hogwarts, and especially Slytherin, and how he didn't work well with the others, if they do a Chamber of Secrets focused episode. And if they don't, I'll just wait until they do. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more soon. Goodbye.